What's up everyone? This is Nergal. You're watching the Thrash-Talk on PITCAM TV.
All right, what's up, Nergal? Thank you so much for taking the time, inviting us into your tour bus. I'd say we'd get right into it.
Mess.
No problem. Let's get right into it. I mean, the tour just kicked off in Europe, and before that, you were in North America. You have awesome bands with you on this tour. The album's going great, so I can imagine it's pretty good to be you right now. Do you still get excited?
Very much so. Yeah, it feels very rewarding and gratifying to be facing this situation, to be confronting these high-profile things that are occurring. Okay, I mean the album does great. The US tour was our biggest club tour ever. This tour is our biggest club tour in the old continent ever. So it feels like, you know, the album is taking its toll, but it's not just a record. It's I see it as a summary of our 28 years of career, ongoing career, and lots of hard work that we have invested in this band. It's all paying off. So it feels good, yeah.
Yeah, I imagine. What I also imagine is being on tour, being on stage is exciting. You have the people, the crowd, but then you also have long rides on the bus. You have a lot of time waiting around. So I imagine it's like a up and down energy-wise. So what I was asking myself is, what do you do to fill the time when you're...
I read books. That's my quiet time. I go and grab my coffee.
What are you reading right now?
It's Satanic Verses in original, so it's very demanding, and it's not an easy read, and it's very demanding English, so it's a challenge, this book. But I'm only halfway through, and it's cool, but it's awesome. Then obviously, you know, every day I work out, so I find the nearest gym and go and do my routine, find my coffee spot, read a book, then hang out a little bit, and maybe watch Netflix.
All right, I saw on your Instagram that you've been watching. You recommended the Perfume series, which is
awesome.
A German series. I didn't watch it.
It's German.
I think it's a German series, yeah, and it's not on the German Netflix because it's on German TV, so it's not available on German Netflix.
I think it was one of the best things I've seen in years, probably. And now I'm watching another German series called The Dogs of Berlin.
Oh yeah.
And it's amazing.
You think so?
I love it. Yesterday I had this little chat with a friend of mine, Marcus, and like, no, there's another one.
4 Blocks.
Yeah, 4 Blocks.
Yeah.
Apparently,
it's even awesome.
It's even better.
And if you saw that, then
yeah, I'm that's the next thing. Our next thing is gonna be Vikings, and then probably I'm gonna do that. But I'm really fond of Dogs of Berlin. I really love it.
Okay.
I think it's brutal. It's cool story. He said that German acting is not really well in this, but you know what? Maybe because I'm not German, so it doesn't really bother me. I just love the whole vibe, and it's really violent, and it gives me like an insight of what the criminal world of Berlin or Germany may look like, because I never had this idea, you know. So, and I asked him, you know, how close it is to reality, and he said, well, that's what it is.
Yeah, probably said 4 Blocks is a bit closer because it's very. I can't say I didn't really like it, but it's an interesting perspective from your point of view to say. All right, so Nergal likes Dogs of Berlin. Then, as you said, you work out. Which gym did you go to here?
The First Fitness.
Okay, Fitness First.
Yeah, Fitness First.
Yeah, wellness also.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I loved it.
Yeah, I've taken that from your Instagram. That you post a lot of fitness content. Is that mainly because you have to work out because you have to be in shape for touring, or is it just something you also like to do?
I love it. No, it's like when I get question asked, why did you go to the gym? Like, I always answer back, you know, or
why do people not go to the gym?
No. Why do you brush teeth every morning? You do. That's your hygiene. For me, taking care of my body, which also, I mean, I holistically, you know, embrace my body. So it's not just body, it's everything, you know. Your brain is working as well.
Of course.
Your brain is producing endorphins, and it's chemistry, and it's very healthy on so many layers. So I just love doing that, you know, because see, I'm sitting straight up, you know, and
Yeah. Don't have back problems.
yeah, I mean, well, we do have problems, all of us,
Yeah.
all of us, Inferno, Orion, everyone is struggling with some kind of problems, myself too. But the moment I stop, it's you know, downward spiral for me. So I never want to stop, and this is routine that I really like. So it's not like, oh shit, gym again. No, where's the fucking gym? I need that. You know what I mean?
Way to go. Yeah, I had a cold for the last couple of days, so it's been like 4 days since I was at the gym the last time, and I just feel like shit because I think,
Yeah. But you know what? You know, if the cold doesn't really hit you really hard, and if it's just starting, the gym and like workout may actually like boost your immune system to fight the virus. You know what I mean?
yeah, if it's not full blown.
Yeah. If you're like 38 Celsius and you're just tired, and no, don't do this.
Yeah.
You know. But you're like, if you're like semi-sick or like getting there, don't skip it. Go, and there's quite a big chance that your body will just fight back.
Yeah, I think
which
your
is
body
awesome.
tells you when you're able to do sports
of
again.
course, you know. But then, you know, it's a challenge to learn your body signals. You know, not
Yeah.
everyone can do this. I'm not saying I can do it. Occasionally I can, and sometimes I fail.
Well, you get better at it. Same with like when you drink alcohol. 10 years ago, I couldn't tell my body signals. Now I'm getting a bit better at it.
I'm way better when it comes to alcohol. I'm like,
So, then let's talk some Jesus, if you don't mind. The album
Never.
title is a quote from the Bible, obviously. I think people know that by now. And you've always been very vocal about your aversion for the church. But what I asked myself, do you think if Jesus actually existed and if he would live now, do you think he'd be a Satanist if he could see what people do in his name? Or have been doing for the last...
I don't know, man. Apparently, you know, a person like him did exist. You know, there's some proofs for that.
Yeah, based on...
I don't believe that this person is exactly how it's portrayed by Christianity and their aesthetics. You know what I mean? Like with this very noble, gentle look, and like always like, you know, very vital, and probably something quite an opposite. What is cool about it is that apparently he was one of the rebels, you know.
Exactly, that's what I meant. Why I asked the
And,
question.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't really. Maybe one day I should just pay some attention and just, you know, try to think about it. But I never thought about it. And I guess that like these days, because the times are like, we are overwhelmed with information. I don't believe, like, let's say Jesus comes. It's the second coming, right? And he just appears tonight. He'd be like either in prison or just put in a mental house or just completely ignored, you know, considering how vast and massive and overwhelming the whole information is. You know what I mean? Back then, like the population was what, like 20 times smaller or 50 times smaller. The world was that small. So it was much easier to make an impact. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's like, hey, take so I don't know, comparison is probably good. 80s, you have like death metal bands, Possessed, Death, just, you know, making this statement. There were just very few death metal bands, Slayer, Death, Possessed, and some other. That's it, you know. Try to come out in an extreme metal band, death or black metal, in this genre, and make a statement and make something that's gonna be remarkable and stand out and eventually start a new subgenre.
That would be difficult to do.
Not possible
because
at
the
all.
genre exists already.
Not possible. It's all done.
Yeah.
So all we can do just, you know,
Like new interpretations of stuff
mutations and just redefine things, but same story with this. It's much easier back then to be a rebel, and eventually someone wrote about it, and and then the spoken word would just spread, and you would eventually make a statement. These days, I bet that the world is full of Christs. You know what I mean?
Full of good people. Some people are good.
I'm not saying good or bad. I'm just I'm talking shamans and pretenders, fakers, spiritual people that are maybe very honest and stuff, but maybe living in India or something. You know what I mean? The world is full of that kind of people that just try to make a statement and start a cult that's gonna reign for the next 2,000 years. It's not gonna happen. So it's good to think of like how the biggest monotheistic religions were born back then, and they got that chance, and they grew that big and that influential. But I hardly see any chance for a new, like, I don't know, let's say, what was their names? Scientologists and stuff. It's all cults, and it's still niche. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but they managed to get people to give them a lot of money, so.
That's all about that.
That's
about
important if you start a church.
It's money and control, of course. That it all comes to one thing. I'm talking about like ancient cults, Christianity, the Hebrew tradition, Torah, and Quran. I mean, the bottom line is to control people, control the masses, to make them fear, so they come to us, so we can control them. And people are like, usually most of them are just they love their comfort zones. That's why they bend to that, and that's why they would just let someone else make decisions for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's why people tend as you can see in a lot of European countries, people tend to go towards right-wing conservatism just to preserve their wealth
and preserve their wealth, but also because they fear the unknown. You know what I mean? They fear the unknown. That's what makes this let's call it opportunistic agendas win over, because they would just take people and say, hey, there's this Satan or some other scapegoat or immigrants or this or that. They are a potential enemy. They're gonna come down here
and want something, take something.
Yeah, they're gonna take something away from you. They're gonna rape your kids. They're gonna possess you or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm just using like whatever vocabulary here, just to explain the methodology of these sects. Sectarian attitudes, and it can be political or religious. What I do, I'm not giving you an answer. Hey, I got an alternative. What I do, and what I try to do with what we do with Behemoth, and like even on a personal civilian level, I'm like, think for yourself.
Yeah.
Question. Don't trust anyone, including myself, because I try to know myself. Gnotis auton. Know thyself. Each one of you, if you have balls and if you're encouraged enough to question laws and the realities, go for it. The road might be very difficult, and there's a lot of obstacles on the way, and it can be painful as well. But eventually it's gonna be very gratifying, because you're gonna win your freedom back.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that, but I think a lot of people unfortunately are too lazy to take those measures.
Which is cool. I mean that's what it is. That's like majority of humankind is just lazy. That's it, but there's nothing wrong. Like that's why what I'm doing, like art, why my art is radical and extreme, because I just find it effective when you're using radical moves. You know what I mean? If you want to wake somebody up, you need to shake him. You need to hit him right in between the eyes and like, hey, wake the fuck up. And you cannot do it like in a very polite and, well, you can, but I'm just thinking, you know, when it comes to radical music, extreme metal music, you know, it must be very striking and uncompromising. That's why I'm all about like radical and extreme aesthetics, because that's how I, you know, speak up my mind, and that's how I express my freedom and my inner needs. Okay.
Yeah, because those are strong feelings, so they
Very
come
strong.
out in
Very
a strong way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think also, I think I'm on the same page with you, because a lot of people who get their shit together because they were out of control, they often have to hit rock bottom because it's a strong feeling, and then kind of realize I need to change something about my life. I need to give up drugs or whatever, or I need to change my political views. Like people who get out of the right-wing scene
It's
often
good.
also
Yeah,
have strong things that happened. For example,
there's nothing wrong with, you know, with falling down.
Yeah.
It's actually quite an opposite. That's how I see that, you know. Life is fluctuating. You know, life is all about ups and downs, and if you're working on your happiness, how can you know it's happiness when you've never been down there?
The other,
you know what I mean? So
other
it's like,
extreme, yeah.
yeah, that's why I think life is so amazing. You know, that it's pretty unpredictable, and it's all about dynamics, mountains and valleys, all the way through, and it's awesome.
You basically explained all of this because you've mentioned in other interviews that Satanism to you is closely related to personal freedom and the absence of rules and rulers. You also have the album Thelema 6, which is based on Aleister Crowley's works, and to me it also seems basically like anarchism. So I think it's all. Would you say that you're an anarchist? Or what would be the difference in your eyes?
Well, if you could give me like the definition of what anarchism is, I would tell you.
Oh, there are many anarchist
I guess
streams.
So. I guess so. But you know what? I really.
It comes down in the end, I think, just anarchism to be the absence of rule over
An
people.
authoritarian rule. Well, I think it's utopian. Considering the world we live in, can we really like truly be anarchistic?
It probably wouldn't work.
It would. Well,
but
you can just say, I fuck the system. You end up in the street. You pay no taxes. You had no home. You're homeless, and you're using your freedom to the fullest. Okay, because I do acknowledge the fact that I'm a slave to the system on some levels, right?
Yeah.
Because I pay taxes, I pay bills. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
and so on. So like on some levels, I'm like, well, if I'm part of society, if it doesn't matter if I like it or I don't. I'm like, it is what it is. Okay, this is the world we live in. It was different 1,000 years ago, but it is what it is, and I wanna be part of that. I'm pretty social animal after all anyway. So I'm like, okay, this is the rules that I'm gonna obey to, if I wanna, coexist, and I do. But on more spiritual and metaphysical levels, I choose to make my own decisions and set up my own laws that I'm faithful to. You know what I mean? And then these laws are still very, they're constantly like evolving and dissolving, and you know what I mean? It's like the only the only true virtue that I can think of now is the constant change, you know. So yeah, so on some spiritual levels maybe I am anarchistic, and it's all about just liberating yourself from the shackles of authoritarian religious concepts, and just stand against that, because it's not compatible with my system. Okay,
the strive for freedom.
Yeah. So, but Yeah, I guess that I explain myself here.
Awesome. I think that's a good.
Cool. Yeah, good talk, huh?
Yeah, awesome. Interesting stuff.
Nice.
I hope I asked some things that you
that's
haven't been
cool, that's
asked for
cool.
1,000
absolutely.
times before.
Yeah, absolutely.
because
I
you-
mean, I don't really do many interviews these days, so like when I do once in a while, it's not some robotic routine, you know. And,
Yeah.
so I'm more involved, and I want to really, I want my, I want my, I just want to be vocal about my beliefs, you know, and I really try to explain myself, articulate myself, so people can understand what I'm speaking about. So it's cool. Yeah, thank you so
I
much.
hope it's not so it gets you to think, and it's not
No, it's cool. It's cool. I
it's
remember
always
this
important
one.
that you're
Hope you guys enjoy it as well.